Hi everybody, and welcome back to Gullo's Garden Center after a very nasty winter. Hope everybody made it through with minimal damage. We were fairly lucky. We did lose a few things here, but what we're going to talk about today is a little bit of storm control. I'm sure everybody had plants that were damaged or possibly even ruined by that incredible amount of snow that we had. So we're just going to talk a little bit about what to do to remedy that situation. A lot of the things that you have, if it's deciduous plants, which means plants that lose their leaves for the winter, a lot of those, even if they look horrible right now, you could cut those back to almost nubs above the ground and they will grow back and be okay. You have to be patient, but they will. Now, right next to me, we have a hydrangea tree that obviously suffered a bit from our winter. The tools that you're going to want to use for these chores are you're going to want a nice pair of hand pruners. You're probably going to need a pruning saw if you have some big stuff to clean up, and you'll probably want a pair of loppers. Tools like this, you'll want to spend as much money as you can afford and get good quality tools. If you take care of them, they'll last you a lifetime, and it's well worth it to make your job easier. And we're just going to go over here to this hydrangea tree and show you a little bit about how hopefully we can make this little guy look a lot better. First thing we're going to do is take off these big branches that are really damaged. Bad one right here, and you just get in there, and these are good hand pruners, so they'll take a big branch off pretty easily. Now, one thing you want to remember when you're taking branches off of a tree, they've changed their opinion a little bit recently about how far back you cut. Every place there's a branch and it meets the trunk of the tree, there's an area called the branch collar. And we may move to a different spot and be able to show you that branch collar a little bit better. You want to preserve that branch collar because then the wound heals over much quicker. Mainly you just want to get these bad areas as cleaned up as you possibly can. Try to get the loose bark out of there. Just make the plant look a little nicer and give it room for the new growth to fill back in again. If we remember, maybe we can come back later on in the season and show you this same tree, and I'm hoping that we'll have made a really remarkable recovery. Now, this branch, even though it's cracked a little bit, I think I'm going to leave it for now. We'll see how it fares. I may end up taking it off anyway because it kind of unbalances the whole thing, but for now I'm just going to leave that. Now we'll go look for a better example of that branch collar we were talking about. Okay folks, we found a little better example of that branch collar we were talking about. This is a little Sargent's crabapple tree. It's a dwarf form of crabapple. Real hardy, rugged tree. We love them here at Gullo's. And if we can see it down in here where this branch is coming off the main area, this roughened and raised area, right where the branch meets the main stem here, or bigger branch, is what they call the branch collar. When you prune trees, you want to leave that intact, so your cut would be just forward of that branch collar. They used to tell us to cut flush to the main branch, but now it's different. So you want to leave that branch collar. Now here, on this big branch, you can see it real well, and now I'm not going to do any cutting, but if this branch was broken and you had to remove it, you want to be careful, because if you don't cut it off in the right way, when it lets go, it could tear the bark down the trunk of the tree and cause further damage. So you'll want to take your pruning saw, and the very first cut you make will be underneath and out a ways from the trunk, and you'll just cut a little ways through at that point. Then you go ahead of that cut and cut from the top until the branch is removed. undercut will keep the bark from tearing when the main branch lets go. Then you go back, you find that branch collar, and you cut the stub just ahead of that branch collar. We don't use pruning paint on most of these cuts anymore. That can actually inhibit the healing process. Leave that branch collar, it's an area of transition cells that will close that wound quicker and make the tree healthier for it. Now if you have evergreens that have suffered a great deal through the winter, arborvitaes took a huge hit this past winter. Some of them, it's going to have to be up to your judgment. Some of them may be salvageable, some of them may not. Evergreens do not usually grow back damaged or removed branches, so they're going to look kind of funky for the rest of their lives if you do trim them up and try to save them. Some of the arborvitaes, if they're not damaged all the way to the ground, you could take them off at the top and save what's below the damage, but again, it's going to be quite a while before they take on a normal form. So get out there in your gardens. Probably a lot of people have already done it. Check everything out, clean them all up, save what you can, and make the choice as to whether some things may need to be replaced or if you can save them also. If you do need to replace stuff, don't forget about us here at Gullo's. We would love to help you with all of your storm damage and your coming planting needs. Thanks for watching.